Welcome to the Boulder Arts Commission meeting. It is April 29th, 2026, and I will call roll. Caroline Kurt.
Present.
Jeffrey Cash.
Present.
Jill Katzenberger. Present. Kaya Vinay.
Present.
Galay Guayel.
Present.
Montserrat Palacios. Present. And Kate Simonos will be joining us around 7 p.m. I will now turn the meeting over to Chair Kurt for procedural items.
Great. Welcome to the April 29th, 2026 Boulder Arts Commission meeting agenda. Item number 1 has been completed, and I would like to have an approval of the agenda for tonight, please.
I will make a motion for approval of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. And we will move into public participation. Melissa has some opening slides for that, and then I have some comments, and we'll go down the list.
The city has engaged with community members to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports the physical and emotional safety for community members, staff, and council, as well as democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspectives. For more information about this vision and the community engagement processes, please visit the website listed. The following are examples of rules of decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during the meetings. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to matters related to city business and to be a 3-minute time limit. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. In-person participants are asked to refrain from expressing support or disagreement verbally or with applause. Traditionally, support is shown silently through American Sign Language applause signal.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody who came today. We have a number of people who are signed up to speak, so I have 2 requests. The first is if you can stand closer to the table and on the other side of this pole that's right here. That will allow the online people to see and hear you better. And if you can just project your voice, that is very helpful. Also, we have a 3-minute timeline. So there's going to be a timer shared with the screen. So please pay attention to that. And I'm going to have a pretty abrupt cutoff after that 3 minutes. So we have a list. So I'm going to go down the list and then just let me know, Melissa, if there's somebody online that I call that's not here. Great. All right. We first have Leah Brenner-Clark from Streetwise Arts.
I believe they're online.
Yeah, Good evening. My name is Leah Brenner-Clark. I'm a 30-year resident of Boulder and the founder and executive director of Streetwise Arts, a Boulder arts organization that served the Boulder community for 10 years. I'm honored to represent Streetwise Arts today as a top scoring small organization for Red Rock funding. I want to share how important and transformative this Bedrock tier funding is for extra small, and medium organizations like ours who work towards building creatively vibrant communities here in Boulder through our missions and programs. I started this organization with a passion to make an impact for the visual landscape of the city and to the community through innovative, accessible, and edgy arts programs. We're not a traditional arts organization by design. Our mission is to uplift artists and build vibrant communities and resilient communities through public art projects, creative events, and hands-on education programs that beautify spaces and amplify cultural diversity and social justice. Our values include ensuring equitable access to the arts, supporting diverse artists of all ages and skill levels, and providing opportunities for the community to participate in public art programs. In 10 years, we've installed over 170 murals across Boulder. We've served 2,000 students just last year and built deep collaborations with local nonprofit organizations, businesses, communities, and VBSD schools. we've hired hundreds of professional working artists for mural work and education programs that change the trajectory of their career. Streetwise Arts murals are seen en masse on the city's cultural asset map, and we've won local awards for impact in the community. We're a small but mighty organization. Thousands of people experience our murals in the streets of Boulder every day. We're deeply honored to be considered for Bedrock funding, considering all of the amazing nonprofits that have applied. We take that responsibility and that recognition very, very seriously. I understand that there's some opposing views about the criteria for Bedrock organizations, which inherently affects our organization, but also many other organizations in this community. I'd like to reference a few key passages from the city's website about this Bedrock recognition and the criteria in which it was created. Bedrock institutions are defined by long-term impact, community-centered missions, and alignment with the city's priorities expressed in the Blueprint Plan, act as multipliers in the arts ecosystem. This approach encourages collaboration, multi-agency projects. Importantly, it deprioritizes the size of operating budgets as a primary determination of grants amounts. Rather, the Bedrock approach transparently encourages organizations essential to Boulder's creative identity, equity goals, and civic engagement. And the scoring rubric says, findings from the Blueprint Phase 1 planning process reveal strong support for impact-driven funding tiers that recognize institutions of all sizes, large nonprofits, and catalytic small to mid-sized groups alike, boosting social mobility and community resilience. The engagement process highlighted the desire for grants program to help support organizations in fostering collaboration, accessibility, sustainability, resilience, and community impact. I'm proud of the citizens of Boulder, who showed up to participate in the planning process, and I'm proud of the Office of Arts and Culture and the Boulder Arts Commission for adopting an innovative and transformative.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to cut you off, but we do need to stay with the time, and I'll give you a little tap starting at 5 seconds to let you know to start winding up. The next person to speak is Allison Green, also Streetwise Arts.
Okay. My name is Allison Green, and I'm the education manager for Streetwise Arts. I'm speaking in support of Streetwise receiving a 2026 general operating support grant at the Bedrock level as the second top scoring nonprofit of this category. Through my work, I've seen firsthand the transformative impact our programs have had on people of all ages, from elementary school students to older adults. Streetwise Arts often partners with schools and organizations serving at-risk youth, Title I communities, and newcomer populations, students who often feel disconnected from traditional education. Our mural programs use public art to build confidence, foster connection, and give students a meaningful reason to engage. By centering their lived experiences, each mural cultivates pride, belonging, and visibility. Our work with newcomer youth is especially impactful. Art provides a universal language that transcends cultural and linguistic barriers, helping students feel seen, valued, and connected. Through structured creative programming, participants build confidence, communication skills, and peer relationships while engaging in positive, productive activities. Beyond youth programming, we are expanding our impact across the community by bringing mural programming to older adults. Collaborative art offers meaningful benefits for aging populations by reducing social isolation, strengthening community bonds, and supporting mental and physical well-being. Participants will have the opportunity to share their stories in a lasting public way, creating a sense of visibility, purpose, and connection. We are also developing programming aligned with suicide prevention efforts in Boulder, recognizing the critical need for safe, creative outlets where individuals can process emotions, build resilience, and feel supported. Although we are a small organization, we are highly intentional in how we steward our funding. Our impact is made possible through strong, trusted relationships within the community, allowing us to do meaningful work with limited resources. Demand for our programs continues to grow. Many schools and organizations are eager to partner with us, but our ability to expand is directly tied to the funding we secure. Funding from the Bedrock Grant would directly support the expansion of our programming, allowing us to serve more students, deepen our impact in underserved communities, and extend our work to intergenerational and mental health-focused initiatives. This investment would help us continue using public art as a catalyst for connection, healing, and positive community transformation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen. Kathleen McCormick.
Hi, everyone, and don't shoot me. Messenger. Okay, I'm Kathleen McCormick. I'm a former Arts Commission member serving from 2016 to 2023. And I was chair for 2 years during the pandemic, which was a really difficult time for the arts community, as it was for everybody, but even more so for artists. And I'm here tonight representing Create Boulder. I've lived in Boulder for 33 years, and I've been a member of the arts community all that time. I perform with a group that is listed as a GOS recipient tonight, so I'm hoping that goes through. After leaving the Arts Commission in 2023, I helped with the successful campaign for the Arts, Culture, and Heritage ballot measure led by Create Boulder, which has produced about 3.5 million annually so far, and has powered the expansion of arts grants, the Office of Arts and Culture, and we hope eventually will provide more affordable facilities and venues. We're working with Lauren and her team on that now. I joined the Create Boulder board in 2024. Create Boulder has supported the arts community for years through advocacy and funding. For example, we brought the opportunity for hundreds of thousands of dollars in regional arts grants to the Boulder community during the pandemic. The letter we emailed to you yesterday was not intended to offend anyone or to jeopardize funding, but rather to ask questions that we hope you have already addressed or might tonight. For me, some of the questions that I have about Bedrock grants are, what is a Bedrock grant? What does Bedrock mean? It means different things in different communities. For some communities, it means legacy organizations are supported because they're foundational to other smaller groups. How can we select only 5 organizations when it's clear there are many that would deserve that honor? Is a 3-year grant appropriate, or should we only offer 1 year to start? Create Boulder members and others did ask such questions and offer opinions about this grant during the Arts Blueprint process, but here we are at the point where you'll have to decide. I've observed how the grant system and the role of commissioners have changed since I was on the Arts Commission. You still approve the grants, but no longer score and rescore every grant application. We used to read and score each application twice, with a month in between for questions and responses from arts organizations before making final decisions. That is now done by an outside panel of experienced arts administrators, whose members generally don't live in Boulder. So I believe it's incumbent upon commission members to review the applications and drill down in the scoring to make sure the choices the panel has made are the choices you would also make to best serve the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
All right, Rita Valente Quinn from Modus Theater.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rita Valente Quinn, Modus Theater Producing Executive Director. I'm here in response to Create Boulder's request to delay approving the Bedrock organization scores and reconsider its definition and criteria. I urge the Boulder Arts Commission to uphold the current process. The Bedrock grant process was built over many months of research, community input, and alignment with the Boulder Arts Blueprint, the Comprehensive Plan, and the CD-SUR goals. The concept and criteria were debated in this commission, where there was opportunity to provide feedback, and the rubric has been public for many months. To reconsider the Bedrock organization grants now would undermine due process, erode transparency, and damage trust in this commission. The timing of this request, submitted just the day before the vote, instead of when the grant criteria were being discussed, begs the question, is this about improving the process or about contesting its outcomes? Because the panelists made no mistake, Modus Theater is a Boulder Bedrock organization. Our award-winning Rocks Karma Arrows performance, an official event for the CDC Sesquicentennial, was credited by the Native Americans Rights Fund for laying the groundwork for Indigenous Peoples Day in Boulder. Modus Immigrant Monologuists and our artistic director were voted People of the Year in 2016 by the Boulder Weekly. Modus One Action Arts and Immigration Project brought together 55 arts and cultural organizations that created 125 events in which 60,000 people participated. The city of Boulder designated 2016 as the year of Modus One Action Project. Modus's Salsa Loteria monologue was quoted by the city council in their decision to become a sanctuary city. Modus's performance law enforcement leaders read Dreamer Stories was covered widely by national outlets and theater magazines, uplifting Boulder for national arts impact on immigration. Modus was highlighted by Colorado Creative Industries as an example of arts leadership during the pandemic. Our autobiographical monologue projects, conceived and premiered in Boulder, received the Westward Award of Best Theater Programming, the True West Colorado Theater Award, the SCFD Rex Morgan Award for Regional Collaboration, and the inaugural Boulder Arts Week Artivist Award last year. Modus regularly partners with city programs to support city goals. Just in the past 2 years, we were hired by the city to use improv theater to engage residents in the Boulder Valley Comprehensive Plan, to develop a bilingual theatrical performance with low-income community members for Boulder's Elevate Boulder program, and to share stories of belonging in Boulder for the city's equity team. And of course, there is our Always Fact annual performance in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, which is a City of Boulder arts event. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rita. Kirsten Wilson.
Yeah.
Modus Theater.
Thank you, Dr. Valen Quinn. She killed it, so I get to do fluff. It's awesome to be here. First of all, I hate it that we're having tension around money. Then the government does not fund the arts equitably. It should not have this scrap to just survive. And there's a lot of survival in this room, and it's ridiculous. Not y'all are ridiculous, but the funding level in the United States, ridiculous. I also have to say, I think everyone, this is about Create Boulder's letter yesterday. There's so much respect for the leadership on Creates Boulder. Worked really hard to move funding in the arts. There's no question about that. And we're really, really grateful for momentum in the city to support arts funding. That being said, I think there's two things that I'm holding. One is we have a question is bedrock is not just who has the most land and owns it, but what is the rock on which we stand? And what are the rock on which we're going to build a better Boulder? And that's complicated, and I'm sorry, but y'all are the leadership. Good luck. But I feel that this is an important process, and I think interrupting it, I think, as Rita said, begs the question of validity in terms of the commission and how things move for right now. The second thing I just have to say is a year ago today, I had a similar letter, but from the National Endowment for the Arts, because we got a $40,000 grant. And it was approved. And it was publicized. And then our rubric changed, and we lost that money. And we already had theaters booked, and we had things going. So it's very irritating to get a letter, a local letter from an established, respected arts company like Create Boulder that says, y'all made a mistake. And these guys, if they disappear, not as important as other organizations not to be named. And I'm sorry, but I am offended. And again, I understand it because people worked for other maybe organizations. But I have to say, this is not appropriate, I feel. So I'm sorry that we're scrapping for money because all the organizations in this room and the ones that maybe Create Boulder's fund is very important. And I'm really sorry there's not funds it out. But I also have to say some of those organizations that I assume they're supporting are already getting $60,000 general operating. It's a difference of $20,000. Whereas from some of these small arts organizations and Modus, this is a salary, y'all. This is a salary. So we're here because this is important. So thank you so much for your leadership. I'm sorry leadership is so hard in the community right now. It is, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. All right, Graham Hill, Streetwise Arts.
I have Graham Hill online. Graham, I am bring you in to speak.
Stop sharing.
No, you're still running.
Okay. Yep.
All right, Graham, are you here with us?
Graham Hill,
Maybe.
We can circle back if these, we'll come back to that. Next, Rebecca Stetson from Junkyard Social Club.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Stetson here in support of Junkyard Social Club. I've already submitted written comments, so I'm going to keep this super brief. I'm here tonight because Junkyard matters. I've been involved as a parent, organizer, and board member, and I've seen firsthand what this space makes possible. Junkyard is creative, a little messy, and real. Kids are not just consuming a program, they're making, problem solving, experimenting, and participating. And it's more than a kid's space. It's a true third space where families, artists, educators, and neighbors gather and build relationships, find belonging, and take part in the kind of creative, socially supportive events Boulder needs more of. Spaces like this are rare, and once they disappear, they're very hard to replace. I also encourage all of you to uphold the integrity of the current process and trust the recommendations in front of you. I urge you to support Junkyard. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Ian Bates, Junkyard Social.
My name is Ian Bates. I'm the Director of Education at Junkyard Social Club and one of the artists, community members who quite literally built the space with my hands. That's not why I have this. I've been at Junkyard since its inception and have witnessed its growth through deep partnerships and community collaboration. In this context, Bedrock was not defined by size, longevity, or budget, but by impact. And through alignment with the city's priorities. Goals like climate initiatives, equity and accessibility, collaboration, and encouraging access, experimentation, and audience development. It was designed to support both anchor institutions and emerging organizations. I believe Junkyard Social Club exemplifies the Bedrock concept. It is a rare and vital convergence of community, creativity, and access to the arts in Boulder. We serve as an entry point. Things like a low-income child building a bumblebee sculpture with wings from scrap metal materials. We built 2 of them. An adult attending their first fusion dance class, or a first-time director staging a new production for the whole community. Junkyard is a place to try, to fail, and to try again. It's not just a venue, it's a living ecosystem that fosters belonging, experimentation, and intergenerational connection. We fill a critical gap in social infrastructure, offering a true third space where people can gather safely and authentically outside of home, school, or work. For many, Junkyard is one of the few accessible environments that centers play and creative expression as essential to human development. Designating Junkyard as a Bedrock institution would recognize not only our current impact, but our essential role in shaping a more inclusive, imaginative, and connected Boulder. It is a foundational space, one that holds community, cultivates possibility, and merits sustained support. Finally, I want to address the call to revise the rubric. It is my understanding that the process was thoughtfully designed and applied across more than 60 applications. Discarding it because the results were unexpected undermines the integrity of that process. Redefining criteria to privilege scale or budget would not increase fairness. It would reinforce existing inequities. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ian. David Ensign, Modus Theater.
Hi, I'm David Ensign. I live at 4020 Evans Drive here in Boulder. I'm speaking as a Modus Theater board member. Hello, Boulder Arts Commission members. Thank you for your service in making Boulder a wonderful community where we can experience outstanding art and culture. Let me also echo Kirsten's words and thanking Create Boulder for all the critical work that you do. I know almost all of you extremely well and continue to enjoy collaborating with you on projects in Boulder. As an engaged community member and former planning board member, I've served on numerous nonprofit boards and have had the privilege of being a Modus Theater board member for the last 10 years, working with the incredible staff members like the ones you heard from tonight, and seeing the impact of Modus's work on the community has been incredibly rewarding. In each of our board meetings, Kirsten and Rita report on all the great work being done. We're always blown away by the amount of work that gets accomplished and the number of incredibly exciting opportunities we have for future projects. There is way more potential work than we have the funding for, but helping prioritize excellent prospects is definitely not the most uncomfortable volunteer activity I've been involved with in the nonprofit space. In the last board meeting, we were all thrilled to learn how well Modus Theater scored in consideration for Bedrock grant funding. We're so honored to have the support of the public for the outstanding work Modus does. And of course, the team started thinking of the doors this funding will open. As you heard from Rita and Kirsten, it can be very disheartening to have support that we were expecting come under question. Having served on the City of Boulder Planning Board for 5 years, I'm sensitive to the importance of integrity around following public processes that our community can trust. I would urge the commissioners to respect the process that was decided on. All of these wonderful arts organizations have worked diligently with the process in getting to this time where they've shown how they will use Bedrock funding in ways that are impactful for the community. Thank you for the role you play in identifying where our public funding can support incredible artistic work in our community.
Thank you, David. Do we have Graham Hill?
Yes, I responded to my message.
Okay, and have we missed anybody online? Anybody else that was signed up?
Let's try again with Graham, who weren't able to hear him.
Hello? Ah, there we are.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Graham Hill. I'm a Streetwise Arts board member. And I wanted to speak tonight to talk about the impact of Streetwise Arts. As a 10-year-old nonprofit in the community, we have laid out 170 murals for our community, really enriching the soul of our community as a place that has wonderful public art for not only locals but visitors to enjoy. We've got just 1.5 employees running our show, along with a very strong working board. And with this minimal group of people, we have really impacted a lot of people in this community, especially with those that are learning to become artists and have great interest in public art, from children to older adults, as was pointed out earlier by Allison, our educational program leader. So I really like how we are working in this community, and every penny is very important. There are so many wonderful nonprofits in this community. We're very lucky to have each other. Let's support each other, but let's trust what's been going on and how the scoring works in our community, because the people that are doing this scoring understand the arts and how competitive they are. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Graham. Anybody else online, Melissa?
No one that was signed up to speak.
Great. And anybody that I missed in the room that was signed up to speak? Great. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. We really appreciate it. Public comment and First Amendment rights to speak our minds is a bedrock of our entire country for now. And we appreciate your participation. So thank you. Jill, don't make me cry. All right. I asked for approval of the agenda and then immediately skipped over something. So we will do the approval of the March 2026 meeting minutes.
Make a motion for that.
Great. Great. I have a couple of edits before we move on to a vote. My edits are on item 6 toward the very bottom, and the motion that was made regarding having some comments held through committee, and 2 edits in the paragraph saying my motion is that the commission approve the substantive content rather than substantial. And then the second to last line, and that we delegate authority to move around the language and priorities in this document. Anybody else have any edits?
Other than saying, I'm glad I wasn't the one taking the minutes that meeting.
Yeah. All in favor? Great. Unanimous. And just really want to thank Melissa. Those were voluminous and obviously took a lot of work and detail. So thank you for doing that. I understand the city's changing some process around minutes and nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, commission business. We have a new commissioner to swear in. Yay.
So, yeah, I will read this. I'll show it to you at the same time now. So I'll read it in little pieces. If you can hold up your right hand, please. I, Montserrat Palacios, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, and the state of Colorado, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Boulder, and faithfully perform the duties of the office of a member of the Arts Commission, which I am about to enter. Thank you. Welcome. Please sit right here, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Montserrat, we're going to wait until a little bit later in the agenda to do some introductions and get to know each other a little bit, but welcome.
Thank you. 29th, right?
Yes, we have the other new commissioner is going to join us later. Okay, work groups. I know you had some.
Sarah's going to start with the work groups.
Great.
All right. For the Boulder Arts Blueprint, a key goal is accessibility and inclusion. Ensure all cultural amenities and creative experiences are widely available and accessible to all Boulder communities. Every Boulder community member, regardless of age, ability, income, or background, will have access to creative experiences where they live. This goal affirms arts and culture as a public amenity that serves all community members. In order to guide our internal work towards this goal, as well as communicate with our external partners, staff drafted an accessibility statement for the Boulder Arts Commission for review. Staff is requesting feedback by May 18th. We're hoping to have a final draft approved in advance of the Accessibility Summit in June so that we can include it in that event. Were there any comments as of now on the draft statement? And then, Guy, would you like to provide an update on the other work we've been doing?
Well, sure. So one of the things that I worked with Sarah and Jill on and Lauren is to take the responses that we received for the GOS applicants. So we reviewed 31 organizational responses, and you'll find this on page 23 of this packet that's there. Essentially, what we wanted to do was we wanted to look really closely at the GOS grants and see what people were describing as past, current, and future efforts to determine where the city should focus our accessibility work, and to use data that's already available and present instead of going back out to all these nonprofits and asking them to resubmit and share new information. And overall, we had some interesting findings that you'll see in the report. And one of the biggest sort of the biggest surprises, I guess, is that we did find that there are some areas that you think would be obvious that are not being addressed, like maybe changes to infrastructure or the ability to have temporary ramps and things like that that require them to be ADA compliant. We were sort of surprised that not everybody had the funding for that, and that was a little bit I think, I don't say unfortunate, but I think that if there's room, so it was mentioned by over half of organizations that there's room for improvement, and that's I think pretty significant. And we found that financial and transportation access remain some of the least addressed. So to that end, Sarah's worked really well and put in a lot of effort in this June accessibility summit that she mentioned. And I hope all commissioners will remind their liaisons to please attend that. and learn from other nonprofits who will be there, who are doing some interesting work. And it's a good way to network and see what others are doing. But that's just one of many opportunities that we're hoping to create for this year, to have nonprofits get the support that they need in order to meet their goals when it comes to accessibility. Thank you.
Yes, so we're planning to have subsequent summits focusing on specific things, digital accessibility, but this is going to be a broad gathering to discuss success stories, best practices, and we'll have someone from the Center for People with Disabilities talking as well. We've been chatting with stakeholders to learn about their practices, both in the arts community and outside of it. And Cindy and I are presenting our programming to the Center for People with Disabilities to receive feedback.
Thank you. Any questions on the accessibility and take homes? Great.
Sure, be happy to. So thank you so much to Jill and Jeffrey who are on our sustainability work group. We recently met with Jonathan Cohen, who's Director of Climate Initiatives at the City of Boulder. He was very excited that we were reaching out, and I'm sure that is going to continue to work with us on a whole lot of things. We reviewed a draft, which has not been sent out to the commission yet, but we're working on a draft similar to the accessibility draft. The base of it, though, is public and was used as part of the Bedrock grant process. We also have a summary report, which we'll be sending out about from the applications from the Bedrock process. We will have a summit on September 14th at John Fair Social Club, and Sarah's working on who to invite for that. We're also working with Jonathan Cohen from Climate Initiatives to see who to invite to that. Is there anything that you would like to add for now?
I will say that hoping to be able to put together a clear document of resources and incentives that can be available to organizations through city and county. To be able to make big steps in the city.
Yeah, and I think there's a great opportunity to align the commission with the work that has already progressed within the city and as well as across the state with a lot of other organizations that we can use as North Stars for that.
Thank you. And when were we hoping that summit was going to be?
It's in September. Yeah, we have some time to build up the base materials for it.
Great. AI?
Yes. So thank you, Carolyn and Yali, for being in our our AI work group. We met with Richard Todd, who heads the city's AI work. I don't even think it's an office. I think it's an office of one who's doing amazing work. We have a summit scheduled for July 16th, and the calendar is it's posted already. So please check out or we can send it out to the Arts Commission. We are hoping to do both a summit for organizations about using AI, like leaning on some of our professors at CU to come and speak about it. Did you want to add anything to that, Sarah?
Yes, so I have been speaking to a professor at CU to talk about AI best practices, when it's appropriate to use, when it's inappropriate to use. But undeniably, it does make writing grant applications more accessible. So I provided a list of our questions to this professor AI to receive feedback, and she'll be presenting at the summit, providing advice to applicants on how to use it for our rubrics specifically.
Beautiful. We also intend to host a meetup about AI for individual artists, focused more on copyright law, protecting yourself.
AI and IP.
Yes, AI and IP, all the acronyms. I've also reached out internally at the City of Boulder to our communications team to talk about a creative workforce first movement or document. So our internal creatives are using local creatives first before using any kind of AI manufactured images and things. So we're working on that internally. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Oh, I'm excited for the events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too.
very informative. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Brendan, that's you. Public art program.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Today we will be hopefully approving our process and selection for the Bear Creek Greenway Trail. It's a $90,000 project. It's right where kind of Baseline and Gilpin meet. We started off the project with four underpass walls, two separate underpasses, one that was going to go under Baseline and then this location at Gilpin. Partway through the project, we realized that the budget of 90,000 was not going to give us what we wanted for both locations. So we decided to focus the artwork on this location here at Gilpin. So the process to date, in August of last year, we had our orientation meeting, which is where we drafted our request for qualifications. In February of this year, we had our finalist artist selection meeting where we selected 4 finalists for this project. And just last week, we had our finalist artists present their proposals to the selection panel, and they selected their favorite. That's not the Central Avenue Bridge, the Bear Creek Greenway selection panel. We had Jeffrey Cash as our commissioner on the project. Gwen Burak she's the deputy director at BMocha as our arts professional. Artie Sandstone is a local artist here in Boulder. One committee member was Scott McCary. He's a neighbor and also director of transportation services at CU Boulder. And another community member was Laura Hendrickson. She's a neighbor and school teacher. Our technical review committee included Erica Amador. She's a transportation senior planner. Ryan Wiltshire, transportation civil engineering manager, and Mark Garcia from planning and development services. These are all non-voting members who are included based on their expertise and look at the proposals for safety and feasibility issues. Our acquisition criteria, it's the same for every project. Inherent artistic quality, the context of the artwork, the ability to install and maintain, the time horizon for the artwork, the diversity in terms of artwork and artists, uniqueness of the project and artwork, and how it relates to the rest of the collection. So again, here's our sites for art. There are 2 distinct walls in both directions going under this underpass near Gilpin. And again, we eliminated a second underpass location because of budget constraints. So from the request for qualifications, we wanted the new artworks to be bright, whimsical, and uplifting. They should connect with the daily flow of pedestrian and biker interaction in a way that activates and brings to life the underpass entrances. Additional interpretation of themes such as history and geography of the site and location at Bear Creek are also encouraged. The panel was also open to exploring a variety of media as proposed by the artists, but will give preference to 2-dimensional exterior mosaic artworks in glass or ceramic tile. It's important that the designs utilize materials that are easy to clean and maintain and are suitable for outdoor display. This was a national call for artists, and we had almost 500 artists apply for this project. It was one of our largest group of applicants. So of the 4 finalists that were selected, the first was Alex Kaufman from St. Petersburg, Florida. He proposed water jet cut porcelain tile representing local birds and trees. So here's one set of birds will be on one side of the underpass and the other bird image will be on the other side of the underpass. No issues from our technical review committee. The panel really liked that it was a sophisticated proposal, very clean, subtle, yet refined. It was Colorado inspired, but not obviously so, and a very well-prepared proposal. He dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's. Some of their concerns were that it was a little too simple and didn't cover as much square footage as some of the other proposals. Our next proposal was from Rita Valley. She was from Louisville, Colorado. So she proposed rounded mosaic tile scenes of nature and life in Boulder. So you can kind of see those rounded, there's bears, there's a hiker, there's a mountain climber, a biker, some more animals. And then behind that, some topographic and watershed imagery behind those circular tiles. Again, no issues from our technical review committee. The panel liked the layered imagery and the interesting take on the watershed and topography. They thought the vision was a little muddled, didn't have kind of a central focus, and wasn't as refined as others. They thought, it kind of required you to kind of stop and look more closely, and for that location, it didn't seem appropriate. Our next finalist is Kasia Polkowska from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Her design included local flora and fauna depicted in the Polish folk art style with bold colors in handmade mosaic tile. So you can see some bears, birds, deer, and flower imagery. And it's really bright colors with a black background. Again, no issues from our technical review committee. This is a pretty straightforward project. There's not a lot of technical issues. The panel loved the inspiring and unique design. People said they hadn't seen this kind of design before, especially because it was traditional kind of folk art. They liked that it was whimsical and colorful. There were some comments about having a black background for the artwork, and they wanted to see kind of more of a central focus or more of a balanced composition across both sides. And finally, Stacia Goodman from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Her design is on one side are kind of fish coming at you, their heads coming down the river. And on the other side, kind of the tails going the other direction. It's called heads or tails. She's going to work with local artist Jessica Moon Bernstein Chiano, and she'll be using porcelain tile mosaic depicting Colorado's greenback cutthroat trout. The panel really liked that it covered both sides of the trail on the other side of the creek as well. It looked kid-friendly. They liked that she selected a local muralist to work with, and she seemed very professional and a master of her craft. They also thought the design was a little bit safe and that the color palette could be a little more vibrant. Ultimately, the selection panel reached consensus on selecting Stacia Goodman from Minneapolis, Minnesota for the project. And the final feedback was to just work with city staff to finalize the design, the potentials maybe use some brighter colors, and then to coordinate for a safe and seamless installation across the creek. So our next steps will be to receive city manager approval and then do the contracting and installation next year. Any questions about the process? And actually, Jeffrey, if you have any comments, since you were our commissioner on the panel.
Well, this is the first such project I was had the opportunity and the privilege to sit on in my 3 years here thus far. And how many actual applications did we start with once the 500 were kind of whittled down?
Whittled this for about 20, 25 maybe.
No. There were how many did we actually score?
Oh yeah, I'll reach almost 500.
Yeah. Oh, is that how many? My mousing finger is still broken.
We had an amazing.
Yeah, that's one word for it. I was not prepared for that. I'm like, oh, I'll just go here this weekend and do it. Oh, I gotta spend a week doing this. So what was great was when we got down to the next groupings, we were basically a united front in what was making that selection. And then when we got down to the final four, I think that meeting took 20 minutes and it was mostly, hi, how are you, catching up, because we all were united as to who were our top four based on the applications and their previous works and their bios. I know we had we were really gearing for the local artists because we had two Coloradans who had put submissions in, but it really came down to our belief that the person who was chosen can get it done, because there is a lot of technical aspects to this because this is handmade, hand cut mosaic tiles, and but it was a lot of fun, and I'm kind of sad that it's over at this point, other than going over and hitting a bottle of champagne against it or something.
Brandon, can we go back and just see the image again?
And I will say it was a national call, but the Colorado artists, I mean, we had 2 out of 4 create proposals for us, so that the Colorado artists always do really well, even if it's a national call.
So the fish there, the heads and the tails of the fish, as well as the bird and the dragonfly up above, those are actually made out of mosaic tiles. And then when you see the dots within the actual painted mural, those are also mosaic tiles.
And the water area is the local artist Jessica's mural 8.
How are community members chosen?
We work with our project partners from transportation. Like in this case, it was transportation. Trying to find. We've also done several calls online for people who are interested to send us their information. So we have a running list of community members who
A roster.
exactly
They actually live in those neighborhoods, so they
Yeah.
go through those underpasses and such. Yeah.
So we always try to find community members who live or work near the project site. And it was great that Scott was also a CU Boulder transportation director, because that he rides his bike through there every single day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
any other questions or comments?
Do you have vote language?
I do.
So, and I do just want to remind everybody, and especially we have some new commissioners here. Welcome, Kate. We're going to ask you not to vote on this one. We'll get you signed in right afterward, and then you can vote away. But just to remind everybody that we are voting not on the outcome here, but that they followed the process, and we're going to take the committee's recommendation. So that's what the vote's about. Oh, sorry, I need somebody to.
I'll propose a motion. I move that we approve this process was properly conducted and recommend that the proposal by Stacia Goodman advance to the city manager for final approval.
Second.
Great, any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, great.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for including me, Brandon. That was a lot of fun.
All right, Kate, we'd like to get you sworn in, and then we're gonna have a round of introductions a little later in the meeting.
Perfect. And I apologize for reading this. My son was performing in his school band concert and I had to be there.
Yeah.
And support, support young
So
artists.
I'm gonna read your oath of office.
Sorry.
You hold your right hand up your side. So read this and then you'll say. Okay.
Hi.
It's a meeting. Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of
of the
America
United States of America
and the state of Colorado
and the state of Colorado
and the charter and the ordinances
and the charter and the ordinances
of the city of Boulder,
of the city of Boulder,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
and faithfully perform the duties of the office
of a member of the Arts Commission,
of a member of the Arts Commission,
which I am about to enter.
which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's here.
All right, thank you. And we'll move to the grant programs with Farah.
All right.
Starting off with GOS grant decisions.
Just for some context, from the arts blueprint, bedrock institutions are groups that are anchored within the sector regardless of their size, budget, staff, or legacy. Bedrock grants were to be impact-based grants that underscore SER goals like climate initiatives, equity, and accessibility. The idea to reward impact over size is setting a nationwide precedent. This definition influenced the proposed rubric for the grant, incorporating climate initiatives, accessibility, community engagement, resilience, and most importantly for the rubric, collaboration. The idea of bedrock grants and the rubric were deliberated between July and October 2025 in a public process. The commission approved the grant materials in October, and the rubric has been public since, with clear definitions and resources to help understand the questions being asked. The panel was instructed to stick to the rubric. They spent over 100 hours on general operating support reviews. And Cheryl attended the panel meeting, and I believe we have a statement from her.
I do. This is a statement from Cheryl, and I'm blanking out on her last name, Cardozo, who is our just departed commissioner. And she, as part of the committee, set these bullet point items. Bedrock application volume. The committee received far more applications than anticipated across all GOS categories, and for the Bedrock category, 33, thus creating a mismatch between panel expectations and reality. They estimated it ultimately took around 100 hours to review all of the applications. Panelists received additional compensation to account for the increased review load. On eligibility discussions, the panel engaged in substantive conversation about what qualifies an organization as a Bedrock organization, ultimately returning to the rubric and their collective scores to resolve questions. Scores were reviewed, discussed, and affirmed as accurate. On scoring methodology, Bedrock scores were evaluated alongside GOS scores, with organizations assessed on the full scope of their work together rather than the Bedrock materials in isolation. The intent was to compare organizations within tiers on an apples to apples basis, and the system worked as designed, considering not all Bedrock nominees are extra large organizations. The panel was pleasantly surprised by the impact demonstrated by smaller organizations and how that translated through the scoring process. On follow-up messaging, the panel asked whether staff could send outreach to non-awarded applicants, encouraging future applications with messaging that frames the decisions as funding limited rather than merit-based. For all applications, outcomes and impact measurement. An ongoing challenge for applicants is moving beyond attendance data toward meaningful impact narratives. The underlying question the panel is asking, quote, you have the data, now what else does it tell you and what will you do with it, end quote. I encourage the Office of Arts and Culture to continue their outreach education in working to upskill this area for local organizations, as it will benefit not only their City of Boulder applications, but inform their future programs and other funding applications. On staff recognition, Sarah's close work with applicants was evident throughout. She's clearly invested significant time explaining the process and supporting organizations through their applications. I know she continues to go above and beyond in responding to applicants' queries about the process. I'm excited, as a regular citizen now, to see the fruits of the Bedrock initiative she spearheaded.
All right. So overall, GOS panel recommendations, overall 77% of applicants were recommended for award tonight, again, funding limited. For comparison, last year, the award rate for new GOS applicants was 78% after the increased adjustment to base. So it was less than that before the increased adjustment to base. While this is a competitive grant, just for some benchmarks, the award rate for local, city, or state general operating support grants is 30 to 50% on average, according to Americans for the Arts data. But last year there were 40 recertified organizations from the 2022 applications, plus 20 from the 2025 applications. So those are the numbers. And then a note on grant decisions: the organizations that are approved for Bedrock funding cannot apply for other funding. At this meeting, commission members have the choice to approve the recommendations, approve individual awards while submitting specific questions, postpone approval of individual awards pending the answers to specific questions, or not approve the recommendations. So oops, I'm missing a slide here, but this is the top scores for the Bedrock rubric. I'll leave that over there.
Great. Okay. We have some discussions. There are two people that are going to end up recusing themselves. I don't think for general statements that we need to have you removed. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is invite any commissioners that have general comments on this process and the question that's been put to us by the public and the vote that we're going to have. Give you some time to make your comments. I'd ask you to limit yourself to 5 minutes in the interest of time. And then we can have some discussion and then move into a vote. Okay, great.
We have to
So
move into a motion, not a vote.
yes, that's part of the vote. Yeah. And does anybody have any statements, anything that they want to add for consideration beyond what we've already heard tonight?
I have a question.
Sure.
For Sarah.
Yes.
Could you clarify the tiebreakers for the organizations that scored there had higher bedrock average than others, but with the GOS and bedrock average score, they got lowered. So I just wanted to clarify the yes, that's a great question. So in the case of a tie, the category scores are used in order of the scoring system. So the first one, bedrock, would be their collaboration score.
Wait, I don't understand. Sarah, explain that to me again.
The collaborations.
The collaboration score is the tiebreaker.
Yes. And then do we have, I only see a tiebreaker or a collaboration score for frequent flyers on the Excel or the spreadsheet. Do we have a, where is that? Like where can I find the collaboration score for everyone else? Oh, those, I can provide those. I do agree that probably it's not the clearest way to represent that. I only included the collaboration tiebreaker score in cases where there was a tie. But yes, I can provide those. Or they can be calculated on an iPhone calculator.
And then I have, some technical questions. This first category, the ones that say like B / the size, does that mean they applied for Bedrock? Is that what the B is for?
Yeah, exactly.
And then on the GOS one, Colorado Shakespeare Festival is yellow.
Yes.
What's that about?
We funded as many organizations as possible, starting with the highest score to the lowest score. The yellow just represents partial funding because technically they should be getting $60,000, but we only had $13,000.
Okay, cool.
One thing that I noted, I just wanted to kind of point out, kind of goes in with the tiebreakers, is that if I were looking at just the bedrock average, their KGMU is one that even is out of order under the bedrock averages just alone. So it doesn't seem like using that average, the average score elevator, like really impacted that many organizations when it came to the bedrock analysis. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, with that exception. Yeah.
Sarah, I sat in on the vision grants and I know how unbiased you both try to be, but was there any clarification given to the people doing the scoring, what an anchor institution is, like how they need to think about it? What is a bedrock? Or examples from other cities, not from Boulder, because we don't want to bias them.
We went back to the definition that's on the scoring website for a bedrock institution. And then, yes, ultimately, what makes a bedrock institution is scoring really well on the rubric at the end of the day. So they just decided to stick to the rubric as the North Star.
I don't have any qualms with the process. I don't have any qualms with the scoring or the rubric. Sarah and staff will remember probably about a year ago when this was first presented to the commission. I was a lone, loud, first voice, and I've been apologizing to Sarah ever since then for not understanding what the Bedrock program was, mainly because of what it was called. Mm-hmm. And so I had an opportunity to sit down with she and Lauren and talk about what the benefits of it were, what the idea of it was, and how it could be transformative to arts organizations of all sizes, depending on who were the awardees. And I was I was convinced at that time that this was a good use of that particular fund if we were using them in that way. The first thing that probably tipped me off was the actual name of it. And I'm really kicking myself right now because I should have pushed further to change the name of it at that point in the process so that we didn't have to go through the syntax of going through what is a Bedrock organization versus what is a Bedrock grant. And this is a Bedrock grant for organizations. And ultimately, when I'm looking at the funds that we received from 2A and the windfall from that, my hope would have been that it would have been able to raise all ships and that could have been used in a way that went across the board for all organizations and everyone would receive a small percentage. That's not what the process is. That's not what the scoring is. So this is where we are now. So this is what we're voting on. But that's what my vision was originally.
Yeah, I do validate that. And I think that the term bedrock has been problematic in that it connotes legacy institution rather than impactful institution. So that was kind of a quagmire there. But I would also like to note that grant award amounts are increased across the board. So this is that.
Yeah, I was pulled back to the blueprint executive summary and where it discusses, in addition to what you pointed out from this, about what the bedrock is meant to be. And I'll just quote a couple sections. They're key partners in the creative ecosystem, impactful institutions of various budget sizes. A funding category built around anchor institutions should evaluate their impact on specific metrics to assess reach and impact. And then in a different paragraph, that these are organizations that serve Boulder historically through sustained public programming, education, employment, and or cultural infrastructure. They're defined by long-term impact, community-centered missions, and alignment with the city's priorities. So when I look at how the result is, I feel that those organizations are supported in that language supports them getting this funding. I think that the rubric supports this language and that was gathered through the consultants and the community and put through the process and that we talked about for months and poured over words. I think that's all supported in how the committee came to this decision. If there is, in my opinion, if there is a disease around the specific organizations that ended up scoring well, I would encourage people to think about whether that is a good direction to look at creating a system. We shouldn't be pointing the rubric to who we think should get funding. We should develop a robust voting system, scoring system, and let that guide our way. And what can we learn about how these organizations are expressing what they do out in the community? How can we help other organizations in the next years write and express what they are doing to a level that they may get funding in the future? And it's a new program. It's not going to be perfect out of the door. It's iterative. We look at the rubric every year. We have opportunities to continue to mull this over and continue and improve. And I think while interesting, I think it's supported by what I see.
Yeah. Very well said. Well, if the rubric is supported, how come we have just one small organization represented? We have one extra large, we have 3 large, and we have 1 small. But if the rubric is going to work for everybody, shouldn't we see more small? I feel like we are saying that, oh yeah, the bedrock supports organizations of all types, and yet the rubric is not, the result doesn't show that. It's just one small organization. Well, there are a list of small organizations that are not supported by the rubric.
I would say that, in my opinion, and Sarah is free to give your opinion too, but all organizations contributed answers to the same rubric. It wasn't different questions for small, it wasn't different questions for extra large. And that levels the playing field. And the rubric that we designed and the program that we designed didn't specify we want to have like one from a small and one from a medium. It was, here is the scoring, here's the priorities of the city. And that's what we used, and these are the results.
Yeah, and I guess if we could, I mean, if we looked at, what the rubric and we're looking at the qualifications, is it possible for a larger number of small organizations for next time to qualify if we change the rubric for the next go round? That would be interesting to find out, where if we take the amount of things that we're asking for and more people are basically qualified for higher scores, will that indeed bring smaller organizations in, or will it leave all small organizations out? So yeah. I don't think the scoring is that. It's just we have a lot of people doing really great work that ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
In this particular rubric.
Yeah. I definitely see opportunity this is not a one and done. We need to keep digging in and seeing how it's playing out and adjusting and getting feedback from staff and feedback from the public. But I think, a couple of the speakers in my mind, I think it would be hugely unfair to hold back the process at this stage of the game that we agreed to for 2026.
Yeah.
So,
right. I was gonna say, like, Boulder has more Bedrock organizations than we have Bedrock grants, and that's just is
what's calling them board rocks.
Okay, so just like not being awarded a Bedrock grant is not us saying like, oh, you're not important to the community or you're not vital to the community. That's not what it's saying. I think maybe that's how people are receiving it. Generally, yeah. If we could give a Bedrock grant to everyone, I would. Truly.
I heard somebody over here wanted to speak.
So if the 5 are awarded the Bedrock this year, is there going to be an opportunity for Bedrock next year, or is this just them getting Bedrock this year, next year, and the year after?
It was determined that, and it says in the application itself, that award years would be staggered according to score, and because these organizations are top scorers, they would be entitled according to the plan to 3 years of funding.
So next year, nobody will be eligible for Bedrock, and the year after as well?
Undetermined.
Based on current funding levels. If funding was to remain the same.
And the distribution of that funding was to remain the same? Yes.
So can we go back to the number of organizations that get funded? The percentages?
Yes.
Do you have information from other similar sized towns, cities, what percentage is getting awarded?
Yes.
How do we compare?
50.
What?
30 to 50.
Oh, you mentioned that that was a 30 to 50. So in
It's
theory,
not for federal, but that's for like comparable.
So in theory, we could scale back on this, what is that, 75%? 77% of total to accommodate for more Bedrock next year?
I'll pass that one to the chair.
That I'm not sure what input I can add. We can talk, every year we talk about what buckets of money go to which programs and how, and the staff determines what would be, based on the applications, what would be an appropriate percentage in each category size. So I think we certainly will have an opportunity at that juncture to talk about it as a commission and ask questions and apply some of the things that we learned from this year. Is that addressing what you thought I might comment on? Catch, I don't know what you're throwing.
Well, I would request that we add that to the agenda, because at a 77% rate, if that is not the benchmark standard in other parts of this country, I think we need to free up some money for additional Bedrock organizations for next year and move from 5 to 10 or whatever else, because if Bedrock is being associated with like some sort of like a designation for these nonprofits, and there are some that are being left behind that are smaller, more experimental, and they need to sort of have their time and their turn, we need to scale this number back. And I think we should add this to the agenda, or like sooner rather than later, because then if we add it later on, we always feel like a little bit rushed, you know?
Yes, the reason I'm kind of dodging the question is because, like, as a staff person, to provide an adequate response, I don't know if it's industries, like, I'm not sure that it would be industry standard to try to fund a lower percentage of applications. I think probably there's lots of factors like funding levels that make it more competitive in other cities. But certainly it's an iterative process, like Caroline said. And so when we're developing the budget for next year, there'll be a lot of back and forth with this.
And I believe that we start the conversations around that coming up in the next couple of months. Is that right?
Yeah. Like I wasn't involved last year. I joined like
It was like right as all that was going.
So I was a little bit out of my depth. So
And my thought point would be like, well, let's get the percentage higher, but we have the bedrocks that are kind of standing in the way of that.
right.
But confirming that due to this scoring, there will be no bedrock grants for the next 3 years due to this year's scoring.
Question for Sarah, and then dependent on budgeting.
Yes, if nothing changes in the funding or the distribution of funding, and again, there will be an opportunity to suggest a different distribution of funding. But if that does not come from the commission discussions, then there would be no new applications for bedrock.
So that was a part of the program that we had all discussed and approved.
Yes, that is written in the grant application language that was approved by the commission.
And the idea of that was also that after 3 years, we'd have case studies for what the transformative funding for those organizations would be.
Yes, and I recall in the discussions that with extra funding comes extra responsibility, and the reporting will be crucial to find out, was this extra funding, what was actually accomplished with that? How efficacious was it?
So essentially what we're looking at here, is this correct, is that's the competitiveness of each of these categories.
Yes.
And as Cheryl's comment implied, the bedrock ended up being way more competitive than anyone anticipated. So is it the case that one thing the commission could do is look at this going forward and say, essentially, how competitive, to your question, Gaia, how competitive do we want these different categories to be?
Yeah.
If we're open to having GOS categories be more competitive, we could make the bedrock somewhat less competitive. So we could mess with the math.
Or either less
essentially.
get more applications.
Right. So it's possible, right, that the commission could take another look at what are we aiming for in terms of the competitiveness of these different areas, and keep and I'm pointing to your page, if the rubric stayed exactly the same, but the funding distribution was tweaked, more organizations could be granted bedrock grants next year. But as you said, if we changed nothing, we wouldn't be able to give out any more bedrock grants next year because there wouldn't be sufficient funding.
Yeah.
Nor does the bedrock going forward, if we could also change the amount if we wanted to.
Right.
Okay, I just want to get clear
Yeah,
on kind of what the options are going
Typically,
forward.
what the process is staff will be crunching numbers and all sorts of different variations and ways to look at the numbers and ways to spread things out and what's equitable. And we'll come with a recommendation. And one of the things that we could do is ask for a specific, analysis of that approach.
I'm intentionally recusing myself from the broader conversation. But I do want to say that read so many incredible grant proposals, they all deserve it. And I also want to say that while only 15% are being recommended for bedrock, a lot of them applied. Not all of them answered every question. So there's some growth there in terms of how to work on the application.
You mentioned, I know we have 3 years here, but the reporting will be more rigorous for Bedrock organizations. Do we know yet, like, how that will look or like what kind of the standard is gonna be with that?
Yes, the commission did approve a report addendum requiring additional questions of these grantees.
It was robust.
Good.
I wonder-
Good. I want it to be, yeah.
It was robust but flexible, so it's asking what they were able to do with the money related to the 5 categories, but it doesn't have to, like, they don't have to speak to all 5 with the extra funding because that's not realistic. So they could speak to 1 category or 2 or something like that.
I know we want to really trust all the scorers, and I do. I just took real issue to this Boulder Library Foundation with one of the panelists marking them 2 on every single thing, including collaboration, accessibility, sustain, like they cannot be a 2 on everything. And that's the one that's really like, how can they be 2 on community connection?
I don't have the application in front of it.
I know, but I'm just saying that I think that it just stood out as like unusual by this one panelist.
I think the difficulty with assessing that application in particular is that the organization itself is a fundraising mechanism. So interpreting programming was, there were some different interpretations there.
You have such a good memory.
One of the things that we had discussed, particularly after 2 years ago, is considering an approach where the top and the bottom scores get dropped. And that's something that we can look at also moving forward for next year's program.
Within the panelists, not the scoring of like the top. Oh,
yeah.
The top scoring organizations are eliminated.
Which would address this type of.
Back to the reporting question that was asked about more frequent reporting, which I agree with. I think 3 years is a little too long to wait to hear how the Bedrock grants impacted.
Oh, no, they're.
It's clean to report every year. Everyone reports every year. Yeah, sorry. Speaking of getting up to speed, but curious if the commission or staff ever utilizes a non-written portion of the reporting. Is there ever other visits, interviews?
Interpret cats.
Yeah, like seeing in kind of an immersive way, an example of what has been done. To supplement maybe a written portion.
Yeah, not as part of the reports, but we do, we will, in the next couple of months, have the opportunity to be assigned with various GOS recipients as a liaison. And that role can help kind of bolster everybody's understanding of what's going on in real life. We report back out meetings. I don't know if that is along the lines of what you're thinking.
It is along the lines, yeah.
Because if it were experiential, then we don't have to be there to also vote on it.
Right, right, yeah, no, that I understand. Yeah.
All right, so just looking at the time, we're at 7:30. Do we feel like we've hit the points that we want to talk about for this vote? Okay. So just a couple of housekeeping items. We will pull out votes for any organization that needs a recusal. I know there are three of us. I think that's it for right now. Yeah. Oh, I need a motion, please. The first one, okay, we've got the Dairy Arts Center and Junkyard pulled out as a separate vote. So
Who was the third
you
one?
don't have to leave right now. It's part of the GOS.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not that
Okay.
bad. So I need a motion on that first line.
I move that we approve the following Bedrock Awards, Modus Theater, Streetwise Arts, and Frequent Flyers.
Second. I'll second that. Any discussion? And a vote. All in favor? 5. All opposed? 2 opposed. Thank you. Let's move on to the Junkyard Social. We have a recusal. Great. I need a motion, please.
Move that the following receive a Bedrock Award, Junkyard Social Club.
All in favor? Oh, sorry. Second, please. You want me to second it?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't hear you. All right, all in favor? 4, all opposed? 2. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. Jerry Art Center, is themselves.
I can second without.
Yeah, okay. You can, yes.
Otherwise, at least it'll
Welcome back. I need a motion on that final line, please.
Move that the following receive a Bedrock Award, Dairy Art Center. Second.
All in favor? 5 of us, all opposed? Well, yeah. Thank you.
And these are the scores for extra large organizations. Again, Colorado Shakespeare Festival is only in yellow because it's technically a partial funding.
Could you clarify why they ended up as partial funding? I understand you said earlier that we're not sufficient funds to get them all the way there, but why them?
Yes, we had something like we went down by score pretty evenly across the different funding tiers. It was like so clean, except for one instance. In any case, we had an additional $23,000 or so, and 2 organizations that tied. One of them was Colorado Shakespeare Festival. The other was Boulder Opera. Because Boulder Opera had a higher tie-breaking score, it was determined that they would receive the full funding, and the remainder basically would go to Colorado Shakespeare Festival. But I can also I know that we discussed this with Caroline.
Because we had the extra funds, you're saying that these 2 organizations, this one and the other one, are actually getting funding that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Probably I wouldn't put it that way, but there was a very even score cutoff point, funding everything top to bottom. And then we had this sort of remainder with 2 organizations that tied with the funding that we hadn't already sort of allocated. I'm probably not expressing myself well.
For the new commissioners, our philosophy is that we typically don't like to provide less than the full amount, but we felt that in this instance, or the committee felt in this instance, with support of staff, that providing at least partial to the Colorado Shakespeare Festival was.
And has it been conveyed to them, the rationale for the partial funding?
No.
Does it need to be?
I mean, I think traditionally scores are sent out and that kind of speaks for itself. The rationale behind the funding decisions, but
they could see this as well. So they could see, yeah.
I emailed them so individually.
Yeah.
But staff makes itself available if people have questions and want to call in. I know Sarah has a lot of conversations.
It's been a busy week.
Yeah. Any other questions? Vote language? Do we have vote language?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's clearly been busy.
That we award the following extra large GOS organizations: Parlando, Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art, Boulder Ballet, Roots Music Project, E-Town, Groundworks Art Lab, Museum of Boulder, Colorado Chautauqua Association, Boulder Ensemble Theater Company, KGNU, Boulder Philharmonic Orchestra, Colorado Music Fest and CMA, and Colorado Shakespeare Festival.
second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Great, all in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you.
These are the scores for large organizations. And again, due to the tier definitions, I do think that this is something the commission should reassess, given how many extra large organizations there are, and that we only had 4 applications for large organizations.
I move that we award the following large GOS organizations: BIF in asterisks or whatever that is, CO Film Society, Local Theater Co, and the New Local.
I got a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
All right, and mid-size organizations. I was told someone had a recusal with.
Yes, it's pulled out on the bottom, so we can do the first, and I recuse myself with me. Oh. I mean, it's me. So I need to.
I move that we award the following mid-sized GOS organizations: The Spark, Compass Resonance, Boulder Symphony, Third Law Dance, Rainbow Socks, Turning the Wheel Productions, and ACE at Boulder JCC.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. I'll recuse myself.
I got it. I got it. I got it. Do I have a motion for Kutandara?
I move that we award the following mid-sized GOS organization, Kushandara Moon and Stars Foundation.
Do we have a second? Jill? Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. So sorry.
Oh, God. It's not nice.
And then these are the scores for the small organizations.
Get a motion?
I move that we award the following small GLS organizations: Cultural Caravan, Keontae, Society for Creative Aging, the Catamounts, Boulder Metalsmithing Association, Greater Boulder Youth Orchestra, JLF Colorado, Mellow Fest, Noble Art District, T2 Dance, and Boulder Opera.
A second. Great. Any discussion?
Lots of beloved scrappy companies there.
Yeah. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
And finally, extra small.
We award the following extra small GOS organizations: Eco Arts Connections, Candle Singers, Band of Tough, Boulder Samba School, East Window, Boulder Taiko, Lemon Sponge Cake, Ballet, Flatirons Community Orchestra, Kid Studio and Gallery, Fireside Ink Writers, CO Nonprofit Center, and Sansuji.
I can second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. That was a lot of money we just gave out.
Like 5 million.
Yeah. Congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you, Commission. Thank you, staff. Thank you so much, Sarah, for all your work on that. It was a big new challenge.
I do have one more point, sorry, class dismissed. This is just if anyone's curious, a projection of where we're going in terms of staggering awards. We will have essentially $380,000 of new GOS applications to give out next year if funding is unchanged. And then the committed funding that was just voted on recently.
Well, that's exciting.
Before we move on from the grants, I wonder if I could just add a point that is, of course, getting up to speed pretty quickly on all of this. And I spent about 16 years on a grant seeker side of organizations and have written and stressed over more grant applications than I care to remember. Had a little bit of grant PTSD looking at some of that. Just because once you've done that, and it's a lot, and it's really, really hard. And so I very much relate to how difficult it is for organizations to go through this process. And I feel that it was the right thing to do to honor the process that they had gone through and the rubric that had been set up and was carefully followed throughout. That said, I agree with Jeffrey's point about that word bedrock. It was really hard to wrap my head around. What are we actually doing? What does that mean? And what does this grant mean? So I spent some time making sure that, okay, we did what we said we were going to do in terms of the rubric and having these organizations go through this and awarding these grants. And I do think that word bedrock is really misleading and confusing and means different things to different people. So I support the sentiments that came out tonight to take another look at what is this, what are we calling this? How are we defining it? And how can we really communicate carefully with the organizations that are seeking grants from the city?
And I agree to, as we can, start that discussion early and often.
Since I was one of the two that voted no, I just want to make sure that people here understand, not that I don't believe in these organizations that got the bedrock. I really do. And I think that the onus comes on us. I don't think the rubric that is used for other grants should be used for bedrock. I think we need a separate framework. And I think it would have been a good time to change this framework anytime between now and next year. And if we had a better framework, we wouldn't have this conversation in the first place. We would have been voting yes. I think the framework didn't work for this, for bedrock specifically. And I think there's over $1 million being spent over 3 years. We owe it to the community, to the Boulder community, the people who are not sitting in this room providing public comments, to really define upfront, what does bedrock mean? What does it mean to be essential? What does it mean to be an anchor? It's too ambiguous. And so we have these discussions over and over again. I think that, as I said, I do believe in the work that these people do. And I think it's very hard that they have to come here and ask for this money and like the stress that they all feel. I can feel that stress and that. And I really want us to be much more mindful for next year while we define bedrock. And I think I would love to see us free up more funding for additional organizations to get access to bedrock funding. If it is clearly that transformational to these organizations, we need to figure out, even if it's going to make, some of the smaller ones, like the ultra small, the super duper small, like how will we define this? Like we have to make it work for more organizations, like bump it up to 8, 9, 10 even. That's my feedback.
Can I ask you a question? When you say that the rubric or the process didn't work for this, is that focused on the distribution of the sizes, or what would it
I
indicate?
think the distribution of the sizes is off. If we are saying in the blueprint that we're going to support extra large, large, small, medium, that is not how the distribution has shaken out at all, right? And I think we have missed out on, economic vitality maybe should be one of the additional things for a bedrock organization, is to see how we can figure something like that in. I haven't fully thought of it, but I was disappointed that we didn't see more small organizations. I would have loved to see smaller organizations part of it. That's all.
I just want to say, first of all, that I totally value both of your perspectives and, agree that we will continue to evaluate the process. Want to thank everybody for following the rubric. I agree that it would be great to see more smaller organizations. I want to also acknowledge that there's a pretty big jump between large and extra large. It's like 100,000 to 1 million, and then we've got extra larges that are well over 1 million. So like that amount, the 80K, is going to make such a big difference to those large organizations, huge difference to all of them. So I'm so excited to see what Modus does, what Streetwise does, what Frequent Flyers does. When they've already made such a big impact with the budgets that they have, it's going to be an awesome 3 years.
I have kind of like a philosophical question, maybe. If it was called something else, but the results were the same, would there be a pushback from y'all in your minds?
No. Okay. I think it was most a little more of, you know, I'm new. But I had issue with the definition of bedrock and definition of bedrock in the Boulder arts and culture community and impact versus legacy.
Yeah.
But I also would have wanted to see more of a more variety of small, medium, large organizations. Yeah. And I understand that you guys went through this last year while I was not on the commission, and it's a ton of work and, a lot of thought and time that went into it. But I had to vote with how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
had to be myself.
I had to vote on the process, but not the result.
Mhm.
And I have no problem
Yeah.
with the numbers, but when I'm saying, what does eligibility look like and in the future, and that's what we get to play with next time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're so glad that we've brought all this up now, and we can look at that carefully and figure out what we want to do for.
The only thing that is on my mind, I am really looking forward to what we can improve in all of this. And I just want to make sure that at a certain level, we stay grounded in what the consultants told us and community wants, because this is all, again, going back to thousands of hours talking to the community and what the community itself told us they wanted. So I think it's great to let's optimize and see how we change the program. But in terms of changing definitions and what does it mean, I think we need to stay rooted in what we spent a year and a half asking Boulder what they wanted.
And optimize is a good word.
That's
a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you, Sarah.
I do have one more agenda item, I think, though.
Okay.
It's on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
So, not my personal agenda. So, we have discretionary funds for requests that would never fit well with any kind of grant application. We have a committee to approve these sponsorship requests that involves all of us as staff and 2 commissioners. And because Cheryl just left the commission, we are now looking for a volunteer to serve along with y'all aid on that sponsorship committee.
I did that before you lied, and it was nice. Maybe 2 emails a year. Let's give someone else an opportunity too, if nobody else wants.
A bit more about the role and what that sponsorship grant is.
Sure. So we receive a request. I think an example Lauren always uses is someone needed porta potties for an event that was very communally important, but that would never ever do well in a grant application. So for those kind of one-off discretionary funding situations, they will send us a formal letter and a request and the reasoning behind it. And then as staff, we evaluate it and say whether we support that use of funding or not. And then if it's a unanimous staff support, it then goes to the 2 commissioner members of the sponsorship committee and to approve that.
And it would be for something at least tangentially related to arts and culture, I assume. So the porta potties for some kind of cultural event.
Yes, or participating in Colorado Business Committee for the Arts, that kind of thing.
One I remember was changing over 2 sets of stairs over to a ramp for a venue. Yeah.
There's a Toni Morrison event. Essentially, the Human Relations Fund, they got their funding cut, so they asked if we could step in on behalf of the Museum of Boulder to fund the Toni Morrison bench. So those are all just examples.
How much is in the sponsorship budget?
It's either 12 or 14. I'm really sorry.
Million.
Million.
I think it's.
I think 14.
Okay.
And the requests are usually like $2,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody interested?
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's fun. They're cute little projects and I'm just like, oh, look what I did. I did not.
Very important.
That was not what I was on.
No.
Absolutely not. Hop on one leg and bang. I'm a camel.
Do they give us like a big red stamp?
It's a Navy opportunity.
I'm president of my HOA board, but number of times we talk about dog.
All right, moving on. I see we're at like 10 till at this point, so gonna keep us moving. Thank you for that. I would like to do the intros, but can we do that last, just to have a nice little warm wrap up to this meeting? We're probably gonna go over about 10 minutes. I'm really sorry. If you need to leave, go ahead.
But not right now.
But not right now. Lauren and Steve are gonna bring us matters from the staff. And a Boulder Arts recap, Boulder Arts Week recap.
Go now.
About a week cap. A week cap.
Yeah. Come on, baby.
Okay, Boulder Arts Week. What happened?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Go.
That's us.
Sorry, it didn't happen.
It's so weird.
You guys crush social media during it, leading up to it, during it.
Yeah, thank you. I have a lot of good numbers to show you on these really good slides that are totally blacked out. on my
Oh, yeah.
computer.
We totally believe you too.
I don't know what to do. So,
Show us the numbers. Maybe we do introductions.
Okay.
Okay.
Introductions. I wanted to say.
Should do.
I wanted to give Kate and Muskrat a few minutes to just introduce yourself and tell us what made you interested in joining the commission, and if you have any priorities from what you know of what we do, what you're interested in helping us solve or create. Whichever one of you wants to go first.
Thanks for giving us a really challenging first.
Pressure.
Yeah. Oh, God, you did.
Yeah. Shit.
You had a friend.
Yeah. So either one of you, wants to start.
Hi, I'm Montserrat. I work in the arts. I work in the art market. I've been working in the art market for over 10 years. I'm a very big advocate of art and culture, and it's just been part of my life since I was a child. And I am excited, I'm fairly new to Boulder. I am 2 years in. And I am excited to be more involved in shaping the arts and culture in Boulder for the future generations. And I'm excited to be here and learn, the next 5 years. Let's see what's in store.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Great. Hi, I'm Kate Semino, and I have been in Boulder almost 3 years. I love it. It feels like longer because I love it. And I was a musician growing up. Music was most of my arts experience, just playing bassoon. My family has played music, and my role, I am an assistant dean for strategic initiatives at CU Boulder College of Music, and most of my background has been in both higher ed and in arts and music. And so as I got going in my role there, I started to realize that I felt like there was just a lot of misunderstandings and lack of connection in some ways between CU performing arts and the broader city and areas of Boulder. And I thought, well, I could probably both advocate for CU Boulder and also help be a liaison and kind of help with understanding, okay, why aren't faculty coming to this? Why can't we get students to come to this? Like, I can help you understand that, and I can help organizations in our community figure out if they want to find ways to connect better with CU music in particular, but performing arts more broadly, or with the ticketing and marketing of CU events, things like that. So that's kind of in a technical sense. I hope to create a little bit more understanding between CU and the broader city. Personally, when I lived in Minnesota for quite a while, I was on the board and served as chair for a few years of the nation's largest community music school, McPhail Center for Music, and love McPhail. It's amazing. And so I have a good sense, I think, of how just that interface between arts organizations and funders and the community, and how all of us can really make an impact through what we do here. And so I hope to also kind of bring that eye to how can we function well as a board and staff and be able to have the impact we want to in our community. And then Guy was like, I'm on the Arts Commission. There's an opening.
So there it is revealed. It's revealed. Yeah, very good friends. Very dear friends.
But as you could see in our voting this evening, we are not.
There are some requirements around us, like not talking something. What is it?
There can't be three of us.
So it can't be three. So,
Yeah.
so we're fine. It's so fun.
Would each of the commissioners like to take just like 1 minute and introduce yourself and re-plug into the arts?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Gaia, and I am at present on the board of the Dairy Arts Center, but I'm cycling out. I'm not renewing in August to be as unbiased as possible on this commission. I'm also not joining the Board of Roots Music project, which was another thing that I was supposed to help with. I instead want to focus on helping all arts organizations. Yes, you would describe me as a, hate this word, but philanthropist. I am generous with my time and funding to many arts organizations and other nonprofits as well. And I'm very involved in the larger Boulder community to get people connected to resources, funding, board members, areas in which that I can help. And
you're great at it. Yeah.
My name is Jeffrey, and I'm a professional board member around town here. I grew up poor on a farm and lived in a tent for 3 years of my life, and have made it my life's work as an adult because the arts saved my life and I was able to see the world through them. I've made it my life's work to be able to fund them and support them and amplify them as much as I can. And so that's one of the things I'm here to do. As an aside, I met Montserrat on election night here in Boulder for city council. She had recently run for city council, and a bunch of folks, she just said, I want to get involved in town. And all of these folks introduced us to each other. We'd never met. And I said, come on, hold my hand. And here we go. Hold hands that night. She was in very painful shoes. And then Kate actually worked with my husband up at the College of Music. So I'll try not to interrupt when you two are being friends, because we're in the same circles here now.
Also, you should know that Montserrat also good.
Well, hold hands on election night.
No.
Hi guys, I'm Caroline Kurtz. I've been in Boulder since 1995. And I'm an arts and entertainment attorney in town. I also am the regional contact for Burning Man here. So I'm really involved in the Burning Man community and arts in general. I also have in the past been a professional board member. I've sort of dampened that down as I've taken on the commission. So know a lot of people in the space, and grew up in the arts. Being from the Midwest, I spent my summers at Interlochen Academy playing flutes, and so always thought and knew that I would be involved some way in the arts. So I'm really happy to be supporting events and artists and spaces and love it all. I'm very proud of our community.
I'm Yaleid. I'm like the punk DIY alley rat ambassador on the board here. And yeah, my main goal is to just like have more weird art, spontaneous art, and artists. Like I think people say like make Boulder or like keep Boulder weird, but we need to like make it weird. Yeah, we're getting there. Like you help a lot. That's a lot, I think, in making a weird space. So yeah, that's my main.
Can you share a little bit about the zine?
Oh yeah, I mean we might talk about it actually in the Boulder Arts Week, but I produced the first ever Boulder Zine Fest this year in Boulder Arts Week at Junkyard Social Club. Yeah, so it was amazing, and I have a monthly zine club as well.
What is
here
it?
in Boulder.
I was about to.
Oh gosh, okay. I was like, I might have one. So basically, it's basically just a self-published magazine. So like zine is short for magazine. So yeah, it got really popularized in like the 70s and 80s punk scenes and with like union movements and social justice work. So, but it can really be anything. I make art zines, but people can make them about information stuff, can make them about social justice or poetry, really anything you want. I know someone that makes like a whole series about Nicolas Cage, so like you really it really can be about anything. So yeah, and you just make it yourself and distribute them yourself. Yeah.
We're gonna do one. What does bedrock mean to you?
It was.
Zine.
Yeah.
I'll go when you change its name.
And I am Jill. I feel like I just started on the commission, but now we're on to year 3. And yeah, on my first meeting, all I'm gonna say is that I got a text from Lauren afterwards that said, they're not all like this. I don't like that. Humans are so wonderful. It's been such a
That was particularly that was much worse than this. This is a walk in the bar.
But yeah, I founded it. I'm the executive director of Junkyard Social Club. I decided to join the commission because we went through a 2-year zoning process with the city for permitting that almost squashed us like 10 different times, and so having experienced that, I want to make sure that other organizations have the chance to succeed in the space where we need more weirdness.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, I want to acknowledge it's 8:01. We do have one more agenda with a couple subparts to it. If you need to leave, we don't need to vote on anything, so take care of yourself and your family. But I will turn it over to Cindy, who has her computer.
There's a lot of work around this. I can't wait.
Yeah. Excited to see you.
Sweet.
Yay.
So I just want to share a quick look at Boulder Arts Week 2026, what we heard from participants, what the numbers showed, and where we're headed in 2027. I'll have some time at the end if you have any questions, if you don't want to just get the heck out of here. Okay, real brief history. Boulder Arts Week was proposed in 2012 when community leaders from VMOCA, the Dairy Center, Visit Boulder, and others came together and proposed the idea to the city. The first event launched in 2013. And it's grown steadily since. In 2018, management moved from the city of Boulder. The city of Boulder, Office of Arts and Culture already always funded it, but management of the program itself moved to the city in 2018. And last year, we had the first ever Boulder Arts Week Awards, which we did again this year. It's awesome. So here's some numbers. A highlight this year was expanded funding for programs that were happening during the week. And I go back and forth between calling them programs and events because some of them were multi-event programs. So, but anyway, and the expanded funding was thanks to our steering committee, especially Gaia, thank you, who had the idea to go out and like solicit funds for cool things from people who might want to support that. And so along with Visit Boulder, Create Boulder, and the City of Boulder's Special Districts team, we sponsored 29 different programs, which is nearly double the 16 of what the Office of Arts and Culture funds alone, which has been kind of like what we've been doing for the last however many years. Last year, we had a couple extra from downtown district funding, but yeah, 29 programs, pretty exciting. The numbers were strong across the board, an estimated 26,000 in attendance, which was a huge jump from past years, likely due to the 32% increase in programs. And even though BIF happened during Boulder Arts Week, that wasn't reflected on our calendar. BIF was actually only 3 events on the calendar. It was there, like I entered them as just one event, the whole thing, and then they also submitted listings for like their opening and closing nights. We had over 114 participating artists and organizations, and the Boulder Buzz Award voting was up more than 550% this year over last year.
Can you repeat that number?
550%. I'm going to give you some percentages later. So it was a strong year all around. I'm really excited to see it growing further. As you can see, I don't know if you're like paying close attention. We had a bit of a dip in 2025. And that was the year that they had like the first electrical shut off due to wind, where they didn't tell anybody about it. It's right in the middle of Boulder Arts Week. So that was kind of a bummer. But I'm excited to see that we're kind of back on a year-over-year growth trajectory this year. When participants were asked whether Boulder Arts Week helped generate awareness for their event, 74% agreed or strongly agreed, up from 72% last year. And notably, 0 respondents disagreed. Last year, we had about 11% of participants who said, I'm not coming back. It was Excel. It was all Excel's fault. So yeah, it's a meaningful shift from last year. Here's some more numbers. Sentiment is strongly positive across the board, and every metric this year improved year over year. 95% of those who responded said their overall experience was positive. 89% planned to participate for sure again in 2027, and no one said they definitely would not return. So that's a strong signal.
Nice. A win's a win.
Yay!
A wind?
Too soon.
So the qualitative feedback mirrors the numbers. We got a lot of, I have a free response option in the feedback forms, and it's great to see all of this. Why is Lynn Siegel still showing up? I don't know how. I don't know why. It's not showing up on my screen. Anyway, I just realized that. Sorry. Yeah, so mostly positive feedback, and then some good constructive notes. Calendar functionality, communication timing, and city permitting processes were things that people kind of had a little frustration with, and we're taking it all seriously. And it's also not the first time we've heard these things, which is why here are some opportunities for us to improve in 2027. These are 6 priorities I've identified. Earlier and more promotion on email and social media. I mean, we kind of did an amazing job, which you'll see in a little bit, on social media, but it's just this social media is, it's a beast. And we're working on it. We did a great job, but earlier stuff I think will be better next year.
You had a workshop.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And people said, you know what you should do? You should have a workshop. Another thing is an interactive event map, which we also had this year and we've had for several years. But the fact that people keep bringing up that we should really have an interactive map indicates that it's not easy to find. The functionality isn't there.
That's for a printed one.
Yeah, I know. And that kind of goes to our calendar. So one of the other things is a more functional calendar, which we're talking with BCAA about because they host the Boulder Arts Week calendar. So it's kind of like
specific feedback, because I actually love the calendar.
Feedback.
I do. I like it.
Yeah, frankly, when I said I want to attend an event and added it to my calendar, it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, just like there are some things that it's not super evident to a lot of people how to filter it until you know it. Yeah, I know.
I still am filtering
You
it.
can't filter by
I was looking at everything.
and by type of event is what we've heard. So this is like people trying to do stuff and unable, so it's not clear to everybody. And like the map and like you should have more of a like talk about social media. I'm like, yeah, we did. I'm like, not just to like brush that off and say you weren't paying attention, but maybe we could do a better job of like sharing how we do that and thank you.
Some people are just never gonna like
Yeah.
the little portal that you made, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we have this awesome toolkit this year, that which was way more robust than the toolkit we had last year. Thanks to Gaia's introduction to a friend at Fringe Fest. She gave us all the stuff that Fringe Fest used to use, and we kind of lifted a lot of their ideas and reformatted it for Boulder Arts Week. So we have this great toolkit, and
They would really like to make a comeback if anybody wants it.
there was an event during Boulder Arts Week that was kind of fringy, which is cool. But anyway, so that was kind of put together towards the end of planning. And so next year we'll just do it earlier and have more kind of orientation around it. Simplifying city processes is something that we hear all the time. Came up in the blueprint. So people who are like, I wanted to do something during Boulder Arts Week. Oh shit, I didn't know I had to have a permit for this. So just sharing that, being more proactive about sharing that kind of stuff. All right, social media engagement. Look at these percentages.
Nice, Cindy.
Jesse, for introducing us to James, who kicked butt on social media this year. He was our coordinator, and he is going to stay on for as long as he can. He's really loving it, and he's totally like immersing himself into the local scene, which he wanted to do.
Yeah.
On Instagram, we reaches up over 240%. Link clicks increased over 3,000%. And a big portion of that is a lot of the collaborations. We really lean into the collaborations. So telling people, tag us as a collaborator, and that just just helps everything, all of us. Facebook, similar story. Reach was up over 488%. You like that one? Like almost zero link clicks.
Now you got a lot.
Yeah, that's 70,000. All right. Put that on. And this year we played with TikTok a bit. We only had 3 posts, but we're learning it and rolling into it. But already our James, who used to do social media for Crocs, said our engagement was over 5%, which is above industry standard, which is 3 to 5%. So I was like, good job, good job us. And one of the cool things that James did, was we connected with some people at CU, and one of the students, as a part of their Arts Buff initiative, wanted to get involved, and she came and she walked around with James, and they went to cool things and they took video, and it was really cute. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that next year, earlier too, with CU. Yeah, so it was exciting. There's always ways that we can improve. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied and excited to see the direction things are moving, especially with the additional funding model that Gaia was like, we should do this. And
Pestered people.
You're brilliant.
Cindy, you did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Yes.
I found out that feather flags are illegal in Boulder.
What flags?
What type of flags?
Those ones you were hauling everywhere? Or feather flags. They're like the tall flags on the sticks.
Oh.
And I accidentally left one in front of Junkyard Social Club, and they got a ticket.
Yeah, and then I got a warning citation, but he came in, he was like, I gotta give you a warning for this flag.
Did it say Boulder Arts?
And I was like, yes, it's your flag. I also reached out to him. I was like, I put that flag up. It's weird that
It's your renegade artist. Just yeah.
The one that forgot to grab.
Installation.
Exactly. Permit. So
Those inflatable things.
I don't know. No one.
You have to ask, you know the answer.
With the sign permitting people are like, yeah, let's hang out and chat about this. We can figure out stuff for next year. So yeah, they're totally willing to work with us. We just need people.
So Cindy, I had a question. Do you have a breakdown on? So I went to some stuff in North Boulder in the Noble Art District, and it wasn't as zesty and well attended as Pearl Tree. Do we have any breakdown on attendees based on location?
No, and that's something we can add to the metrics we look at next year. I know that a lot of people who do things on Friday who aren't in North Boulder are like, nobody came to my thing. Not nobody, but, and I tell this to people every year. I'm like, don't plan something on the first Friday unless you're in North Boulder.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. And like, you can, but just
be aware.
Unless it's earlier in the day or whatever, because that's, I mean, it's hopping and they really go all out.
It was really, I think, I don't know, I didn't help you last year, so I only know what happened this year, and I thought it was super well run. I do think the steering committee missed out on, we had a list of like people that we wanted to reach out to for social media content. We didn't do a good job with that, so I think that should be like something we really remember to do for next time.
Yeah.
Like we were supposed to get commissioners on and we didn't do that, like.
Yeah.
So
we got a few, but yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, so I feel like we could have done a better job, like following through on some things like that.
Let's start earlier next year.
And then there were some events that one of the ones that I brought on that was too expensive and people didn't attend. So like, even if there's guidance and like sweet spots for the price, because it's not all of them are free.
Right.
Like, but obviously the free ones tend to do better, but if there's any guidance we can provide as always.
Well, yeah. And along the lines of guidance, also, Sarah mentioned that we're speaking with the Center for People with Disabilities, looking at guidance for like how to share with the public how your event or program is accessible. Because there's like a click this box if you're accessible. I'm like, what does that even mean? So like, is it wheelchair accessible? Is it accessible to the blind? You know, you bring your dog in.
And I've tried very hard to get it out in front of BBSD because a lot of their activities were like kid friendly and like super fun for families. I did not get very far because they were like, oh, we need to, but maybe next year.
I connected with their like arts person at the district, and I mean, it's all I could get was them to they put their stuff on the calendar, which wasn't a ton.
But it was really good. I'm excited to continue to help if you still need my help next year.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun. Thanks for all your support, everybody.
Thank you.
Blueprint?
Sure. Just a quick update on Arts Blueprint. I'm so happy. So we took it back to the advisory committee, which was wonderful because it was basically like beta testing everything. And the website is up to date now. If you would like to click around, if you see anything, if there's anything of interest to you, I really think the website speaks to a lot of the challenges that everybody was having. I'm happy to say that you also received an updated draft or an updated final blueprint where materials are moved around and the recommendations are moved more to the front. The executive summary is still something we're still playing around with because we need to do a version. The version has to be accessible according to Colorado state laws. So it'll be a one pager and it'll include, actually there'll be like a bite and a snack that includes actually these slides up here. We're making them into pages. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more summary, you can use these beautiful boards. Thank you so much, Sarah. No, please. It will add one final document specifically about infrastructure. It was asked of us to make a kind of a summary page about infrastructure for some of our advocacy groups that are interested in working specifically on building out artist live work spaces or venues. So there'll be like a one pager that's a part of all this. And we also in your packet, which was very long, I get it, there was an Arts by the Numbers page that we're working on. That will go on the website, and then there'll be sort of numbers within each goal. So directing more from all of the data that we have, because we have extensive research that Cindy works on, feeding how it fed into the specific goals. And then if you were interested in using more kind of quantitative data, you would have easier access to that. So if you have questions about any of that, or if you have feedback on that older Arts by the Numbers page, just let me know. But thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions about the staff memo? Seeing none, we will move on.
Staff memo, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We also have a new Arts Commission photo, but I think in the interest of time and our lagging energies, unless people are dressed up for it.
No.
Not today. We're
Plan for it next month.
Next month. Yep, yep. And with that and a bang of the gavel.
Thank you, Caroline.